Hi, everyone. Welcome back to being the best version of yourself. I'm your host, Dr. Carrie Heller. Today, we have an exciting guest. We have Megan here, who I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself, and then we'll kind of jump right into our conversation.
Hi, my name is Megan Meyers, and my quick sort of backstory was I owned a dance school for 15 years and loved every minute of it, and was great with running a brick and mortar local business 24/7 in my 20s. And then all of that changed when I had my first child back in 2015, and then I overnight just really wasn't willing to devote my life to the brick and mortar business anymore, which was, like I said, 24/7. Yet I didn't want to give up my identity as an entrepreneur and my business and give up all that income. And so I started exploring other options, and I hired a business coach, and the idea was planted in my mind, you have all this experience, you have all this, knowledge from your studio. Why don't you package it up and share it with other dance studio owners? And so that's what led me down the path. It was this light bulb moment of creating, discovering the world of sort of online business, information products. And so I did just that. And 6 months later, I created a business called Princess Ballerinas, where I'm sharing one of the curriculums I developed for my studio with other studio owners. And it was overnight success for me. It doesn't always happen that quickly for people. And it just totally transformed my life, and I was able to sell my studio within a year. And so I've been running my online business for about 7 years now, and it's been great. It's a wonderful lifestyle business, total 180 from the brick and mortar experience. As much as I loved that in my 20s, as a mom now with different priorities and needing more schedule flexibility, the online business has been amazing. And now for the past couple years, I started another business called Shine Online, where I help other people turn their passion and experience and expertise into a simple digital business, freedom-based business like I've done. So that's me.
All right, great. Well, welcome. I appreciate the explanation. So one of the things I'm thinking might be helpful for us to look a little bit at is the idea of how do you balance things? Because with parenting, parenting can be a full-time job, regardless of even having an actual job outside of parenting, let alone
Right.
having to, balance that. And so it sounds like you've done a good job being able to, focus on the work piece of it, have the flexibility. But like, what have you found to be really helpful in balancing parenting with a job and adjusting the job to make it fit sort of your needs of parenting?
Yeah, so I think that the key for me has been the word flexibility, because every day is a new adventure, especially with young children. So my son just turned 8 yesterday, actually, and then I have a almost 2-year-old. So these past, 8 years, that's the key word is flexibility. With young kids, sometimes they nap, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're going from 2 naps to 1 nap. I mean, it's like literally every couple weeks is a new adventure. Every day is a new adventure. And so for me, I love to work, and like I said, I was a happy workaholic in my 20s. I'm sure, as my children are older, I will, who knows, maybe I'll open a bed and breakfast and I will just be working all the time and cooking up and bringing people stuff. I mean, I love to work, and I love to serve my customers when I have nothing else to do. But as a parent, it's that flexibility, so that for me, I tend to use nap times to work. Whether for me, my work now is either working, if I'm working one-on-one with a client for Shine Online, or with my Princess Ballerina business, it may be just checking on my Facebook ads, writing an email to my list of subscribers, creating a new lesson plan. I can do this work during a nap, or I can do it in the evening when everyone's asleep. That works best for me. And so again, it comes down to flexibility for me.
Okay. And do you feel like you spend a lot of time planning out, during this nap time, I'm going to do X, Y, or Z, or after bedtime tonight, I'm going to do this? Like, do you feel like you end up planning out a lot of it like that way to sort of be efficient?
Yes and no. So one of my key core beliefs for business, and I believe children, for me anyway, have been just these great efficiency managers in my life. They force you to be really efficient because you do have such limited time, and I do anyway. It's like you may only have that 1 or 2 hour nap, or you may only have an hour or two in the evening. I'm not going to work all through the night. I will sit down and do 90 minutes of work in the evening, but of course I want some personal unwind time also after chasing a 2-year-old around all day. So for me, a key principle is simplicity. So I spend a lot of time really considering what are the major levers that are going to move things in my business. What is my, the zone of genius versus zone of excellence, that Gay Hendricks talks about in all of his wonderful books. So really finding those leverage points and being very simple with that. So with my online business, you'll hear a lot of online experts talk about, social media. You have to live on social media. You have to post every day, multiple times a day. I've 7 years now with my own online business. I do almost zero social media. So for me, I don't have all day to be doing that sort of thing. For me, I do run simple Facebook ads. That takes none of my time. I can be putting my message in front of the people who it can serve, offering up my, whatever that is I'm running my ad to, while I'm doing whatever in my life. So it takes no time. So that's a point of efficiency for me. I communicate really, really well via email. I love to write, so I don't have to sit down. It doesn't take me hours and hours. I can create a really effective email that resonates with my audience in 30 minutes or 15 minutes, because that's a point of strength for me versus, I've experimented with podcasting and hosting a podcast. It just doesn't flow as easily for me. So again, it's working in what's easiest for me and then keeping it simple, not trying to do every possible option to promote my business, but picking 2 or 3 that are easy for me and effective for me. So keeping things very, very simple.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's a really good message. Keep it simple. And obviously, in addition to sort of the promote the business, you actually have to do the actual business work as well.
Yes. So, but I think when it's really simple, I'm only doing a handful of activities every single week. So to answer you're right. So to answer your specific question, I don't have like 20 things I'm juggling where I have to say, okay, this nap time, what's my priority? It's like in any given week, I'm checking my Facebook ads. I may be writing an email. I may be writing a blog post, and I may be working on, if I'm working with a one-on-one client with their online business, we may have a call, or I may be working on, what I'm doing for them. So I have a handful of things I'm doing. I don't have 20 or 40 tasks in any given week. So that simplicity makes it easy to figure out, okay, this nap time, I'm going to do this. And, I'm only choosing from maybe 5 core activities that I do. So simplicity does help with that.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. Is there anything you found to be helpful in terms of automating things to save time also?
Oh yeah, that is one of my most favorite aspects of the online business world, is absolutely automation. So in the brick and mortar land, the way you got leverage was, the way I got leverage was through staff. So I had a staff of 10 instructors, and it outgrew my ability to teach all the classes. We had multiple rooms going. We had, I had staff teaching. And then at some point where I wanted to focus on the marketing of the business, when it got to a point where I wanted to just be the marketer of my studio versus the teaching, then I had someone come in and run the office manager, and she was sort of, front of house, dealing with parents and enrolling students and dropping students and just doing all of the things that are a part of the daily functioning of a business. But it was very people intensive. So to move online, where automation, everything is, run with software. There's such wonderful software available these days. It just makes your life so easy. Yes, my marketing process is all automated. That Facebook ad, it's autopilot. It's running in the background while I'm doing other things. So for my Princess Ballerina business, I run ads to a free sample of one of my lesson plans for the program, and I target it towards dance studio owners. Very simple. It's very effective. A dance studio owner sees that, they click on it, takes them to, my website, they get a free sample, and now they're going to get a couple emails on autopilot telling them about me and about the program, and offering them, a $1 trial to this lesson plan subscription I offer. If people want it, they sign up, and now they start paying me every month. If they don't want it, that's cool too. And then they never have to buy it. So, and yes, this is all pre-built, all automated, and that is incredibly liberating. You get leverage without having to have, I have 0 staff. I've always been a solopreneur these past 7 years with my online business, and I don't plan on that changing anytime in the future. I'm a solopreneur on purpose. And so, yes, I really rely on automation, and that's a huge leverage point and a huge time saver. And it creates that amazing consistency in your business as well.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, it definitely saves a lot of time. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the things I know a lot of people struggle with in a variety of different jobs is being inundated with email and having to sort of keep on top of responding to email and the time it may take. Like, I know you mentioned sometimes you can write a really good email fairly fast, but is there anything you found specifically that helped with automating emails as far as, people contact you with questions and things like that?
Yeah. So I think I think for me, I think in the beginning when you're doing something new, you don't know what you don't know. So I think initially when I started working with dance studio owners, 7 years ago, the questions I was probably responding to more emails one-on-one. But after a little bit, 4 months, 6 months, there's those same top 10 questions that everyone is asking. So then I started to develop sort of back end support for the subscribers, whether it's, a Q&A forum or just a public forum. So when someone asks a question, I can publicly answer it. A lot of people achieve this with a Facebook group. So it's sort of thinking of how you can do things one to many when you're doing the same task over and over. I mean, unless it's something like a private coaching client, of course, they're paying for that private access. But if you're doing something, my Princess Ballerina membership for studio owners, it's $57 a month. So it's very affordable. It's very one to many. No one expects me to sit there and, answer all of their business questions one-on-one via email. So as you go through the process and as you get going, you can find more leveraged ways to support your customers that are not one-on-one email. So that's what I've done, and it really works. I mean, over time, as people ask questions, well, first of all, if they ask a question, you can now direct them to this group or this forum where you've already answered the question. But you can, preemptively, when someone joins, as part of that welcome email, let them know you also get this membership area, and you're going to find the common questions. And I find with my customers anyway, that reduces my workload a lot. They see that now that they know where it is, they can go find it themselves. And again, it's a low priced subscription, so people are used to sort of DIYing. That's that level of service. So that's what I've done, and it's really worked for me.
Okay, well, that's great. Yeah, I think figuring out ways where people can find answers themselves makes it easier. I mean, one thing I found helpful in other ways too is to basically, because it got me thinking when you mentioned, the same, 10 responses questions a lot, is to basically create, for example, if you have a Google account or, Gmail or any sort of Google for Business, you can create a template. And so if you have the same questions over and over again, you can write like a general template and then tweak it to each individual person, as needed. So this way it gives you a nice framework so it can save some time having to draft certain things. And kids can use
Absolutely.
it, if they have trouble with writing email, let's say even emailing a teacher, that then they can have a template to start off with, or people can use it for a variety of different ways, but it can certainly help with efficiency.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great tip.
Well, I guess, what have you found most challenging in terms of balancing sort of the working world with parenthood?
Again, I think it for me is that time balance and so like I said, I really was happy to to not be in balance in my 20s. I started my dance studio when I was 18, so I started really early, and I owned it for 15 years. So pretty much my 20s were consumed with running this dance studio business, which again, I was a happy workaholic, loved to work, and so I really did have balance, but I was doing, I wasn't digging ditches. I was teaching dance and picking out dance costumes and choreography dance recitals. So it was fun work. It was passion. It was, I was happy to be devoted to it. I enjoyed it. So for me, when I had children and those priorities shifted and it really, my kids now became the priority. Um, Again, it was that balance of I do love to still have my work is very important to me. I love the identity of being an entrepreneur. I love the creative outlet. But again, it just comes down to that flexibility of being able to work when it works for me. But even now, if my 8-year-old has a field trip and I want to go to the pumpkin patch with them, I can do that. And that's not something that's all the time. It's not like I need every Thursday off all year long, but that random Thursday that the pumpkin patch is happening, I want to be able to take that day off and go to the pumpkin patch. So those are the things that for me are really, really important. And so I think the moving into the online space has allowed me that just incredible flexibility, and there's so much leverage because so much can be automated that you're just really freeing up a lot of your time. And then I try to be very strategic in the small number of activities I am doing. I make sure that they are very strategically chosen, and coupled with that flexibility really creates that balance that works for me.
Okay, great. And do you ever find that sort of when you have certain days where you really aren't having much time to work, that stuff piles up and it gets stressful? Do you find that, while you're with your kids, you're thinking about kind of, oh, there's all this stuff I need to get done that keeps piling up while I'm not working right now?
Um, No. So thankfully, no. So again, I really try to be very strategic and have a very small number of things. So with my Princess Ballerina business serving dance studio owners, I it's a subscription, and I give them a new themed lesson plan for their 3, 4, 5-year-old classes. That's like the big money maker in the dance studio industry for studio owners. And I give them a new themed lesson plan once a month. I'm sending one email a month to all of my lesson plan subscribers. So I have all month to create that lesson plan. So I have, when I say I have a lot of time freedom, I have a lot of time freedom. There's a lot of flexibility there. It's not, if I miss Monday, Tuesday is going to just be a nightmare to get caught up. I have lots of time to create that lesson plan during the month. I'm sending out maybe an email a week, every other week. I'm not very super rigid on those sorts of scheduling things. So if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. The world's going to keep turning if my email doesn't go out, this today versus in a couple days. Same with like the blog posts, the Facebook ads. No, I don't have this giant mountain of work that's ever piling up. So no, so I keep it very, very simple. I keep it very, very, there's a lot of white space in my work, and all the work I do is very creative, whether it's creating lesson plans for dance studio owners in that business, it's creative. So I can't say I'm going to sit down and create this magical, imaginative lesson plan on Monday from 12 to 2, because I don't know if that's when creativity is going to strike. Maybe I didn't sleep the night before. So I might not be my most magical, sparkly self at that moment. And now working with clients in my Shine Online business, I typically only work with 1 or 2 clients at a time, but I'm helping them often create their entire online business. It's very creative work. We're strategically planning. I'm creating a brand for them. I'm creating all their marketing for them. It's a total done for you experience for my highest level clients. So again, it's very creative work. There's a lot of white space for when that can happen. And we will be working on a part of their branding. That's going to be a 2-week process. It's not something that, so there's a lot of flexibility on when that happens and the way it organically unfolds so that it can be its best possible output for them.
Okay, so it sounds like you don't really have a lot in the way of rigid timelines, so that makes it easier. And
Yeah,
also being in the right mindset to do the work is going to be far helpful. You can't force yourself, as you're saying, to just be creative if you're not in that mood or mindset to do it.
right. Absolutely.
Okay, great. I guess, is there anything that I haven't asked about that you feel like, from our conversation, we would like to share with listeners?
I'm just love coming on to interviews like this and sharing the opportunity of creating a virtual business. I'm all about creating life on your terms. And so I know that can look a lot of different ways for people. And, I want everyone to live life on their terms, live your best life. And so that may be what you're doing now. Great. But I think for a lot of people I work with and a lot of people I talk to, creating a simple online business, especially, there's kind of 2 crossroads in life that I find that I meet a lot of people, or a lot of people come to me to work with me. It's motherhood. So maybe someone has had this professional career in their 20s or early 30s, and now they're switching into mom mode like me, like I did with my studio. And so again, they have this level of experience and passion, and in this work experience, but now how can they make that work with being a mom, and they want maybe that freedom and flexibility like I've been talking about. They maybe want to work from home, maybe want to do their own business versus being employed. So moving into the online space and packaging up their passion and expertise really works for that person. The second group is people moving into retirement. It's like your 60s are not what they used to be. It's like I say, your 60s are like your new 40s. So I get a lot of clients that are about to retire, or maybe they've recently retired, but again, they're not ready to just like totally be done. They just don't want to like have the commute anymore, or the boss anymore, or like the full-time brick and mortar business anymore. But again, they have this expertise, they have this passion. So being able to move into a virtual business that's very freedom based, it's very flexible, allows them to share their expertise and get paid for it, and also travel, also see their grandkids, also, whatever that priority is for them, really speaks to a lot of people that I work with. And so that's what I'm passionate about, is just sharing this opportunity, putting it out there, letting people know it can be very simple. I'm not living on social media. I'm not spending 60 hours a week, 40 hours a week. My princess ballerina business, I've always worked less than 10 hours a week these last 7 years and made very, very good money, twice as much as I ever made with my brick and mortar dance studio. And so that's what I'm just really passionate about, sharing the opportunity. If anyone wants to learn more, I wrote a book called Shine Online. It's available on Amazon. And I literally break down all the steps of creating a simple online business like I've done. And so that's the thing I like to share. If anyone wants to learn more, if you want to see the entire process of what I did, how I did it, and I give lots of examples of other people I've worked with also, of just simple virtual businesses and what that can look like for you, if that's something you want to explore. A book is just an easy starting point, very, very low risk. And you can really kind of get an overview of how a business like this could work and how it maybe could work for you.
Wonderful. So that definitely sounds like a great book.
Yeah.
And I guess, where else can people find you if they want to reach out to you? Where's the best place for them to reach out to contact you?
So shineonlinenetwork.com is my website, and I do have a free group called the Shine Online Network. So if anyone, that's why I give lots of free resources, just the blog posts I write, any sort of just free information, free educational content, that is all totally free. So that's available, but shineonlinenetwork.com is the website where you can find me.
All right, wonderful. Well, thanks a lot for coming on today. It's great. It's a fun conversation.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right. And thanks to everyone out there for listening. All right. And take care, everyone.